All right, today we're opening the case file on one of America's oldest and most haunting unsolved mysteries. What happened to the lost colony of Roanoke?
So, let's set the scene. We're going back to the late 1500s to a tiny English settlement on an island just off the coast of modern-day North Carolina. This was supposed to be a brand new beginning, but it ended up as the setting for an incredible mystery.
Think about that number, around 115 people. That's how many English settlers gambled everything on a new life across the ocean, only to vanish.
And we're not just talking about a military fort here, no. This was a budding community. It was full of families, and it was even home to the very first English child born in the Americas, a little girl named Virginia Dare.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The one that historians have been asking for centuries. How does an entire town just disappear?
Now, the timeline here is absolutely crucial. The colony gets started in 1587. Almost right away, their governor, John White, has to sail back to England for more supplies. It was supposed to be a quick trip, but it turned into a long, agonizing wait.
3 years. That's how long John White was stuck in England. Why? Well, a massive war with the Spanish Armada broke out, and pretty much every ship was needed for the fight.
Can you even imagine the feeling? After 3 long years, he finally makes it back to Roanoke Island in 1590, and he finds nothing. The homes, the fences, everything had been carefully taken down. The entire place was just silent.
So, with an empty settlement and no one in sight, the investigation pretty much began and ended with one single cryptic clue left behind.
This is a huge deal. There were no human remains, no graves, no bones, nothing to suggest that a disease or starvation had wiped them out on the spot.
And here's where it gets even weirder. The scene was totally peaceful. No signs of a fight, no broken tools, nothing that looked like an attack. It looked like the colonists had just packed up their things and left.
The only thing they found was this single word. Carved right into a wooden post of the fort was the word Croatoan.
So what does that mean? Well, that's the whole problem. Croatoan had 2 meanings. It was the name of a nearby island, but it was also the name of a local Native American tribe they were friendly with. Was it a place, or was it a people?
This double meaning leads us straight into the first and honestly, the most popular theory for what happened. The colonists just moved.
So, the idea here is that they made a totally practical choice. Their supplies were low, their governor was gone for who knows how long, so they decided to join up with a friendly local tribe to survive. Makes sense, right?
And if you look at the evidence, it's a bit of a puzzle. The Croatoan clue, it points right to this theory. And the fact there was no fight, that fits perfectly. But it also raises some big questions. Like, why wouldn't you leave a more detailed note for your governor? And why take the whole settlement apart?
But what if we're reading that clue all wrong? What if it wasn't a message of hope? The other theories suggest a much darker fate for the colony.
So theory number 2 is that the colonists just didn't make it, that they were overwhelmed by the harsh realities of the New World, whether it was sickness, starvation, or a violent attack.
And this brings us right back to the scene of the crime. I mean, this theory makes a lot of sense. Life was incredibly dangerous back then. But the physical evidence on the island just doesn't add up. A massacre or a widespread plague would have left something behind. Bodies, bones, anything. But there was nothing.
So, where does that leave us? We've got one theory that fits the clue but feels a little strange, and another theory that makes a lot of sense but has absolutely zero physical evidence to support it.
And the result of all this? Well, for over 400 years, the fate of the Roanoke colony has been America's oldest and maybe its most fascinating cold case.
Really, the thing to take away from all this is that the mystery sticks around because every piece of evidence is also a contradiction. It's the perfect historical puzzle with no obvious solution.
And that's really the question we're left with today. Is this a ghost story about a colony that simply vanished? Or is it an incredible story of survival and adaptation with a final chapter that just hasn't been discovered yet? The search, you can be sure, is still on.